All right, ambush. And today we are joined by an artist who, the last time that we joined us, we walked through the Garden of Truth. But this time around, we are in good company because it is always good when we are joined by the individual, the songwriter, the nomad known as Tennyson King. How's it going today, TK?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Ooh, I'm having myself a beautiful day out here in BC. And the last time that we chatted, November 2020, you mentioned that you might be coming here for a little while. It looks like you've spent quite a bit of time in BC this past year and a bit here.
Yeah, I guess when we talked back in November, I was still in Toronto, and I left for Kelowna in December, probably just after we talked. And then I've been in BC since then, more or less. Like I went back to Ontario to work on some records and stuff, and then traveled around a little bit in Canada for some shows in the summer. But yeah, I've been in BC. I've been in Kelowna. I just left Kelowna actually last week, and I just moved to a little town called Preston, BC.
Wow, okay, that's a little up there.
Yeah, so now I'm in. So now I'm like deep in the East Kootenays and just hanging out for now.
Oh my goodness, that's like very close to bordering Alberta, is it not?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, just like I think probably like 3 hours from the border of Alberta.
Oh, wow. All right. So you got yourself a new home on the West Coast. We got some new music. Life is good.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. And of course, like I mentioned, the last time we joined, we were talking about a couple of singles, but this is an entirely a new EP. There's a new songs. You released quite a few of them through 2021, but I'd like to know is where in this process, this journey of going to BC, doing some traveling, probably some life experiences, when exactly did you begin to craft this new project?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, the record Good Company, I actually started writing it. I mean, the songs that go back from like 2018 pretty much. Like I was starting to kind of formulate the ideas then. But I just never really fully sat down to finish writing the songs in its entirety. So a lot of them were voice memos and voice notes from my tours and travels abroad and in Canada. And then finally, like it was always meant to be a record, and I was always meant to make a record, but I was just touring so much that I never got the time to actually sit down and do it. So that was kind of one of the good things about the pandemic, was that when that hit in 2020, it kind of forced me to stop touring and actually stay in one place and work on the record. So this was probably around when we were talking. I was actually back in November 2020. I was in the studio making the record. With Ross Hayes Citrullo in Toronto at his studio. And yeah, so it was great. That year I just got to sit down with all my like hundreds and thousands of voice memos and went through it all and kind of, fine-tuned the ideas. And then Ross and I kind of narrowed down the songs and just put it all together. So yeah, it's been like a while in the making, and a lot of experiences and lessons and travels and adventures. So it's like a good encapsulation of the past kind of 4 or 5 years of my life.
Okay, then. So the songs have been waiting in the waiting for a while, but the time had to come together. So finally, things allowed you to sit down, go through some of those paperworks, those old notes, and now we have this collection. So you mentioned that you were in the studio before, but you also mentioned there that you had to fly back to finish a couple records. So were these the records that you had to fly back to Toronto to finish? Did you have these finished before you moved to BC, or what was the process sort of been like here?
Yeah, so I had everything finished by the start of December in Toronto. So I actually had everything recorded. We mixed it while I was in BC. So we did a lot of kind of digital mixing, which was really cool that we can do that now, and saves a lot of travel time. and stuff like that. So yeah, I actually had everything that like I did recorded everything pretty much in 2020. And we did it all in Toronto while I was there. And when I was flying back before in the spring, last year's spring, just because I was producing a record for another artist as well in Ontario. So I was just going back to do that. And yeah, but I pretty much had it all done and been sitting on it since then and doing all the, the prep work to release all the singles and all that awesome stuff.
Of all fun, of course, building up all of that promotional materials, all of that fun stuff. So it took about 6, 7 months before we finally got our actual true first taste of this new EP, because on August 13th, we got our first single with A Life on Shore, Carry Me Away. So there's something that came with this song that I want to discuss, but before we get into that, I want to know exactly what does this song mean? What energy were you trying to capture inside of it, TK?
Yeah, I mean, that song is really just about life on the ocean or on any body of water, really. But for me specifically, it's on the ocean, on the sea. I love the ocean, and I've been a bit bummed actually the past 2 years that I've been kind of away from. I mean, I've been to Vancouver and our ocean coast, and I've swam in it a bit this summer, but it's not quite warm enough for my taste. But yeah, that song, I just wanted to really capture what it would be like to kind of, as if it was like a sound if you lived on a boat for like a year, and it's the idea of just being able to kind of be taken away by the ocean, right? Like letting all your control go and just floating away with the ocean. Because I feel like when we're in water, a lot of the beauty of it is that it's not fully in our control, and that's something I think that we should respect as people, and I love that. So that's what I was really trying to capture in that song.
Hey, I like how you mentioned that, where it's water's very beautiful, you go with the flow, but it's a very powerful force as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I like that. I like that very much. And one thing that I did very enjoyed too, and maybe spent a little too much time trying to play here, was the video game that you released for this song. And I mean, when somebody hears, oh, okay, so an artist released a music video game, so it's got to be like simple, easy. No, this game is hard, yo.
Yeah, it's a bit harder than I thought it was going to be easier too. And then when I first played it, it took me a couple of tries to actually win.
I think I spent like a solid hour playing it like when I first found it, and like I did not win. I did not win.
Yeah, I definitely have to let the designer know. We'll make it easier next time to start.
I like a challenge personally myself, but either way, I was having fun. So why a video game? What was the idea behind sort of releasing that as a way to hype the song here?
Yeah, I mean, I think really with any marketing and any creative business these days, it's just trying to come up with something original and unique to share whatever your thing is. So like for me, it's music, but these days it's like everyone puts out songs, like so many songs all the time. Everyone puts out digital content and videos. So my team and I were just trying to brainstorm of something unique and slightly different and not done as much. And a good friend of mine who also is like on my creative team for a lot of the digital content that I share, his name's Cesar Barbosa, and he was as a hobby just started taking a video game course, like a video game design course, and he just started making a video game for a school project and decided that he would just use that as making a video game for the single. So yeah, we just kind of talked about it and came up with a little character. The character in it is actually, I mean, from the single we had an interview about last time, the Garden of Truth. I don't know if you recognized him, but the character is the same cartoon character that's in the music video for that Garden of Truth single. So we just took that same character, put him in, and we thought like our original idea was pretty grand, was like, let's have this person as if he's on tour, and then there'll be multiple levels, and each level is like a different country, different geographic landscape. And the goal is to get the little character who's me to get to my gig on time, right? So yeah, we just kind of came up with the idea and just tried to have fun with it. It's supposed to be simple-ish, like Mario style. But as you mentioned, it's a little bit harder than simple.
Hey, it's very much that Mario feel, but like I also mentioned, I'm down for like the little bit of difficulty there. When you get it, you earned it, right?
Yeah. I mean, it just shows, right? Sometimes that's how hard it is to be on the road and get to shows. Things that it's not always just a smooth ride.
It wasn't exactly the true physical interpretation, but metaphorically, it got there.
Exactly.
I love it. And once again, like I mentioned, I've been loving this new EP. And one song that I particularly have really been enjoying is the latest single that dropped on January 7th, just 2 weeks ago, as of the recording of this interview here, with It Ain't Easy. So take us a little bit behind this song before we dive into the music video for this track.
Yeah, well, It Ain't Easy was definitely, it's like when we kind of went into, I actually wrote it originally as a pretty folksy acoustic guitar tune. And then when I brought it to Ross, the producer, he kind of heard it as more of a big, like indie pop, rock pop kind of tune, which is exactly how it turned out in this version of it on the album. But it was great. I loved it because the song is really about, it's exactly like the title says. It's like, it ain't easy, right? Like life's not easy. We all, especially right now, but all the time we go through tough times and hard times. And as people trying to just, whether you're chasing your dreams or just trying to exist, normally, it's things happen and life gets hard and we have to face challenges, but it's important to recognize those challenges, embrace it, embrace the journey for everything that it is, right? Like all the highs and lows. So it's kind of just, it's my anthem to anyone who just needs to hear that and needs a little kind of extra push on the back to keep going, or a hug, or some love, like I'm there with them, and I think we all can, attest that we're all going through that similar thing.
Hey, you're there with them, being that good company, getting them through maybe a hard moment. And that's one way that I like to look at things is sometimes you need those difficult moments so that you can actually learn to know how to appreciate the good ones as well, right?
Yeah, totally.
Hey, awesome. All right. And one of the good moments, one of the good laughs I got was from the music video for this track, because not only is it gorgeous being filmed inside of Kelowna out there in a beautiful Okanagan country, but also just happens to feature a little wonderful competition where you have the Kelowna Arm Wrestling Club, I believe it is, maybe, coming out to help you out with that.
Yeah, we had the Okanagan. I had a feeling you'd like that music video, especially with your wrestling background and stuff too. But yeah, we had the Okanagan Arm Wrestling Club come in, and there was 4 of them. And yeah, I wanted the music video, for anyone who hasn't watched it, it's just like, it's supposed to be funny and serious, And the idea is that the arm wrestling, and we're working out, preparing for this arm wrestling battle, and then we all battle each other in an arm wrestling tournament. And I cheat a little bit, but the idea was really just to take the physical, like the physical feats that arm wrestling is, as a metaphor for like what we take on in life. And it was so fun because I actually didn't know arm wrestling was such a huge, like I always knew it was a thing and there's competitions, but when I met these people in Kelowna, it just hearing about like how serious it is and all the tournaments and around the world and in Canada, it's just so cool. And one of the guys, Richard, who was the kind of like the head of the Okanagan Arm Wrestling Club, he just placed, I think, 6th in the world in his weight class, like just this past year. So it's super cool to to learn about, it was super cool to learn about that. And then at the music video shoot, you know, they're teaching us how to, all the different ways and techniques to arm wrestle, and how it's not just about arm strength. There are lots of little things that you can do. And yeah, it was just such a fun shoot. It's just such a fun shoot. Like, it's such a great day to do that, especially like you said, in the Okanagan. And we had a beautiful spot just kind of a bit slightly higher up in the mountains with a bit of a view. And yeah, it was fun.
Gorgeous view, and like you mentioned there, that the beginning of the video where you guys are training, and even just you putting on the makeup, and I was laughing so hard. I was in like, I loved this music video. It was so well put together, and just everything like you mentioned. There's that seriousness. It represents the feeling of the song, but there's also just that fun of it too, where you have you cheating and then like pointing into the camera like, gotcha, gotcha. It's like, oh my goodness, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
And of course, with today being January 21st, of course, this interview comes out a little bit later than that. But as of this interview's recording, the album, the EP, actually released today. Very exciting. So what is it like to have this project out into the world after sitting on it for some of these songs for almost 4 years now?
Yeah, I mean, it feels great. It's actually, it's a bit of a relief because you're like holding on to stuff so long, and I've been wanting to share it to people, and I've been playing some of the songs live, or like versions of these songs live at shows, leading up to this in the past 4 years, and that's been great, kind of to get people's responses. But yeah, it feels great to kind of get something out there that you put so much hard work into. But at the same time, it's funny because it's so out of your control, right? These days, especially without touring and shows, you put it out in the world, and you do a couple of social media posts on it, and then the rest of it is just kind of like up to the universe to see if it connects with people. But it is really exciting, and I've got some really great feedback on it, and I'm just happy to give some sort of music and something to people to help with, healing process of life, and just to kind of especially with everything happening now. So I hope that'll kind of be a part of their everyone's journey as well as they listen.
Is that part of the reason why you named the album Good Company then?
That's definitely part of it for sure. I probably I had like 2 pieces of paper that just had like names of possible albums. Cause the way I tracked this record too, it wasn't really like a concept album. It was just like, I'm just going to pick the best 8 songs that I think are cool and work together. And, so I didn't have, sometimes you'll have like an album name before you even start tracking songs, and everything leads from that. But this was the opposite. So when I had all the songs, I spent like weeks just going through possible names, and I landed on Good Company because, I just really want the album and to be good company to people. And I think I've lived my life on that kind of motto for the past 5 years, not even really knowing it, as I travel and meet tons of different people in different parts of the world and have different communities. My goal is essentially just to show up at someone's door, so to speak. And, like if they hear the doorbell, they open it, they see me. I just want to be someone who can offer them some good company for a few hours and have a nice chat. And I think it's also important introspectively too. I think we should be good company for ourselves, even when we're alone. And yeah, I just think if like we all kind of lived with that mentality all together, it'd be a pretty good, peaceful, loving place. And I'm hoping, since I can't physically be with everyone all the time, when they listen to the record and listen to the songs, that's the kind of vibe that they'll take from the songs, is that sense of being good company.
Well, I love that energy, and it may be a while. I mean, you did mention you did get out on the road a little bit last year. It may be a while before we get to do so again, but either way, this is good company to get you through. And then we can enjoy the actual company of each other at a Tennyson King concert sometime in the future.
Exactly.
Hey, all right. I have had a blast chatting so far here today, TK, about this new album, some of the singles that are on it. But of course, I have a one last question for you.
Yeah.
All right. So, what I would love to know now, and I can't remember if I actually asked you this last time or not, but what I would like to know now is over the last year and about 2 months here, the process of getting this album ready, getting it out into the world, pretty much moving to BC, all of these things that have happened in this short period of time. How has this time helped you to grow as an individual, or what has it taught you about yourself?
Yeah, that's a great self-reflective question. I like that. You know, I think what it's definitely one thing overall this year that it's taught me, just being in this special year of COVID and still trying to be a musician and releasing stuff, is that, you know, it's a lot of things are out of our control. And that's something I'm learning to accept more and more, but also just to kind of always take the time to just reflect on, I guess, my own actions and how doing certain things, whether it be releasing music or like posting digital content, like, I guess, how that impacts our community and people around us. Because I think we've just become really, I guess, dependent on the platforms of social media and sharing. And yeah, it's just important to kind of take notice of those sort of things and what we're interacting with. But most importantly, also, is to just try our best to kind of embrace the shittiness, because we need to, but also just really try to think like, okay, how can I manifest a different future and a better future? And that's a lot of the times what I've been just working on, right? Just trying to imagine myself in 1 year and 2 years, and just kind of being in that state without actually physically being there.
All right, I love that. We manifest a better you, and hopefully together as better us's, we manifest a better world.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, I love it. I love this lesson, and I have also enjoyed this conversation here today. Thank you so much for joining us once again on the DTP Tennyson King.
Yeah, thanks. It's my pleasure.